This will be a board repair for a Mr. Cool 12,000 BTU unit inverter control board with the error code P4, which is a bad IPM circuit. The basic board for anybody who's ever had one out of there. The base number for this board is a 17122402718. Where did I put my phone?
I can snip it.
Alright, you have these little clips here that you gotta orient the camera a little better. Sorry for the point of view, I don't exactly have a pro setup just yet. Got these little clips here that you gotta get undone to get this lower shield off. Preferably without breaking the tabs. And your IPM is located right here. You got your V, W, and your U phase. What you want to check for is you just kind of set your meter. First you want to do it to ohms, and you go between your P, which is right here. Y'all can see it. If you can read it, you can see it. And your U, and I'm reading 229 kilo ohm, or 230 if you want to round up. P to V. Is showing the same. P to W. .4. Now what happens when you get that is you get a P4 error code, which is no output to the inverter, or no output to the compressor from the inverter circuit. What you have is you have a diode that goes from P to W along this line here. So you have your contact here, your contact here, and your contact point here. When this diode goes bad, you have a short directly across to W. So it's time to replace it. Ooh, that was loud. Get this out of the way. That's too much room, but as you can tell, I've replaced a couple of them, and you basically got to clip the legs off of them. And these are a Fairchild NFA 41560. I think that's an NP2M. You first want to take the white head screws off that are actually on the heat sinks themselves, or actually to the chips themselves. That way the heatsink doesn't torque on your fast recovery diode or your IGBT or the IPM before you loosen the screws to the heatsink itself. And then you take the ones that are just galvanized off last. And then you see it kind of shift down. You just kind of gotta until the heatsink just kind of lets go. There it goes. And you got your thermal pads and your thermal paste. You just don't want to get it everywhere. Set that to the side. Turn it over. Try not to lose all your screws. And this is your IPM module right here. And you want to start just by cleaning the thermal paste off of it. Keep in mind this is a brand new board that was bought and had a bad module on it. And the manufacturer would not warranty it or accept a return, and it took 7 weeks to get it for this Mr. Cool mini split. So, a friend of mine decided, well, let's just go ahead and replace the IPM, and we'll go from there. There's just isopropyl alcohol and a towel and clean most of it off. And generally you want to inspect everything around it to see if there's anything that has a little hole in it. Just for reference, this is your gate driver, and these are your Zener diode here. There's a diode there, and then there's another Zener under here. Then you have all sorts of filtering caps. This is your IGBT, and this is your fast switch diode. This is your rectifier here. I've had some where it blows the current sense shunt right here, takes out the IGBT and the fast recovery diode and the rectifier. And then from here you just kind of gently clip the legs off, because there is no other easy way to get these off of here without doing too much damage to the board. So once these are done, you just kind of cut it off of there, and that's that. Sorry that my hand's in the way, but I don't exactly have a head cam or anything like that. And sorry if the audio levels are crappy. And then you kind of just work on the other side of it. This little standoff plate here is to keep the everything spaced properly, and to kind of a large backup structure for the heatsink as well. Basically just a lower support for the heatsink. This side's a little easier to get to until you get around these little barrels right here that the through holes go to. Give it a pull and make sure you got all of them. Sometimes you feels like you did and you didn't. There. These over here are about on the cap are the hard ones to get because that capacitor's in the way. Sometimes you can just cut the top of them off without doing too much damage, because you don't want to put too much torque on that top ring or the barrel of the through hole, or you'll just tear it out of there. They're not meant to take too much. And now it's out of there. You can read Fairchild. Put it with the others. And here comes the not really tricky part, but just kind of tedious getting these legs off of here. Hopefully I can still get a decent view, because it might be well shrouded. I found it's easiest to use a Bessie vise. Get these at Lowe's or Home Depot years ago. You can just kind of set it up and it'll hold the end of the board for you, so you can desolder these legs that are sticking through. First thing you kind of want to do is see what you're looking at as far as coatings, because these usually have a heavy or a mild urethane coating on them. And depending on how heavy it is, sometimes you can get it off of there with some IPA, isopropyl alcohol, or you got to get acetone. You can use MEK if it's real heavy, but try not to. It's pretty caustic. And you'll see where just kind of that yellow stuff peels away. And of course, you just kind of let it air dry or blow off. I like to use just old toothbrushes because you can't really recycle them, and they last a lot longer than parts brushes do. This is just some liquid flux on a brush that makes things a little easier. And I usually try to just start away from myself and go from there. Hopefully I don't lose perspective on this camera here, depending on how it wants to focus on me. Come on, stick. And you just grab the other end with the tweezers and hope that you don't lose your grip, because it's still got a little bit of the coffee shakes. Get off of there. And you got it out of there. Those are hot, so don't rest your hand on them. And you just work on through it. Over there. Again, sorry if the audio is crap. Sorry if y'all can't see. Just figured I've done a couple of these. It might help somebody else who would rather not spend $250 for a new board when you can get the part to replace it for about $15-20. DigiKey was the only place I saw that had these in stock, but a dealer on eBay actually had a pair of them for less than what DigiKey sold them for. They don't always package them well, though. I'll see that in a second. And that's why sometimes you get duds when they don't package them well. Get out of there. That one's being stubborn. Just throw them away. And this usually works best for clearing out these through holes, these little vacuum solder suckers, whatever you want to call them. things are finicky when it comes to small angles. There it goes. Gotta get down there just right or it ain't gonna do nothing. Sorry for being left-handed and blocking your view, guys, but it is what it is. I'll go back and inspect those under the microscope a little better to see if I got all of them. Now, rake this off on the floor. All the shavings that come off of there. I'm working on the top side, which has got most of the pins. I believe this is a 26 pin. If y'all don't know, the rule of thumb generally is no more than a 2 to 3 count when you're touching onto one of these. Any more than that and you risk overheating the pad and the barrel or in the ring, and then it just pulls through, and then you're running trace wire if it's even possible. I'm being stubborn. Helps if I'm on the right one. Just go through and Get as much of this out of there as you can, if you can get the solder tube in here, because once again that capacitor is kind of in the way, and then I'll have to flip the board around probably. Yeah, flip it around. I can't really get a good contact on it because the surface mount stuff's in the way. Also be careful because this board likes to fall out of this little tray they have it in. I don't think I got it that time. Sometimes you got to fill these back up to get them to liquefy the solder good, because you don't have enough mass in there to do anything with. And when they get close like this, you wind up, it pulls the air out of the one next to it. Come back to those. Sometimes you're chasing the board around because the pressure you need to hold the solder sucker to the back of the board flush moves the board around. Yeah, it slipped off. Kind of see daylight through those. Yeah. That's what that noise is. Just clearing this thing out. Yep. And that one's being stubborn. These get a little hard to see because you're up against the mount bracket. Yeah, Looks like I got daylight through all of them now. Whether it's enough or not. Clean and inspect before you install the new module on there. Just to make sure nothing tore or pulled out. Sometimes made in China is not all quality stuff, as some of you probably know. Pull a lot of it off like this too. Right. Make some room without burning myself. Into the extra door. It's always a delicate dance of moving stuff in and out of your own way to get to a better work position. I want to move tools around on a workbench that's pretty dang small. Alright, for those who weren't in perspective there, all you could probably hear was the vibrations of the metal on the desk, which I know was the greatest. I have a third eye from a microscope here, but you get the gist of what I got to look at. And you're mostly looking just to make sure the hole is clear and that none of the rings or the barrels have torn through. good. What I meant by this is how they package them and ship them. They're not on the foam trays or anything like that. So the legs are always bent. You always got to test them when you get them, because sometimes you get duds. I'm just going to go with the one that's the least mangled in shipping. We'll go with this one. And of course, we need to test the diodes to ensure that it didn't get damaged in shipping. And it's usually easiest to check it in ohms mode before checking the 1.78 meg, 0.78 meg. Oh, no bueno. Yep, that one's. Maybe y'all can see it, but this one's bad too. Brand new. That one's still good. I'm hoping I've got a good one here to install for you guys. Make sure I'm looking at this right. So P W 221K, P to V 2.48 mega ohms, P to U 2.48 mega ohms. And then these are negative P, NU, VW. I'm not sure. But that's W, NU. Man, not getting a very. I'm not hopeful this one's going to be good. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have anything from W to W to, yeah, looks like that diode's bad too. From NW to W. Got a bad diode. Yep. No way, no. Both of these shifts are bad. Well, there goes this video for today, kids. See? Bad diode in that one too. And that is from P to W. Well, I just thought I was going to have something to fix for y'all, but until next time, we'll see if I can get a quality part in.